I really don't think I can keep up with the extent of things going right and wrong with Marvel Contest of Champions. So there's been this kind of thing, this thread, if you will, about the route mechanic and a few changes that are done to certain champions. Now I've got to be very careful, especially like as you've seen, like from Friday's video, based on some information that was on Thursday about mythic crystals. Trusting things at face value, I have to be very careful nowadays because, look, we trusted something on Thursday, we read it, you read it, I read it, someone stating that they've been banned because of the mythic crystals. Turns out they weren't, and it was because of something else. So I'm going to have to be very careful about kind of vetting the information in future, as I said. And now that we've got an answer for Kabam, which was posted on Friday, I can now kind of like go, okay, well, let's kind of go over this particular situation. So I saw a player say rank down tickets for Zemo and Kraven. And this is obviously about the route mechanic. And obviously there's a lot of champions that do use the route mechanic. Not a lot, actually not a lot, some. So Second Skrilla says they're my two favourite champions, sitting at rank 5 because I love their route mechanic, yet the last patch completely ruined them by allowing opponents to special 3 out of route. This change is significant enough to turn them into bad champions, so I want to request the infamous rank down tickets if this change is here to stay. So that's something, you know, mixed. I'd say it's like, I'd say it's mixed, isn't it? It's kind of like 50-50, 47 disagree to 72 agree. It's kind of that, isn't it? From that. Yeah. Look, to get right to the point, so to go into a bit more detail on this, like from a visual sense, this is what, say, the champion would have done. You know, this particular player is very skilled, and you can see here how the route mechanic works. It's kind of like what looks to be like a permanent route in some sort of like shape or form. Of course, we've got the I say very, very skilled kind of like level of player right here from this particular player. This rotation is just nutty. Like, it's really nutty of a rotation. The enemy champion, this Red Hulk, is totally suppressed. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that the champion is, well, you know, power locked in place. This is mad. Like, this is mad damage, mad suppression. But Kabam maybe have seen something like this and gone, do you know what? This is too OP. They consider this too OP from a rotation narrative and play. Don't quote me on that one. We'll have to see what Kabam say in a minute. But that's kind of like that showcase right there. Just shows like how meaty that all is. And yeah, what the player says is this is what Kraven could do before the patch. No synergies or boost. Nerfing this to the ground without a single word is obscene. He's unusable now. Such change demands rank down tickets, which is a fair thing. But again, we need, without me kind of like looking at the full ins and outs of it, Kabam response, we need to find out. But apparently it's been on the Trello board for a while that Zemo's route wasn't supposed to stop the enemies from using their SP3, and the devs also informed me that it was supposed to be on the patch notes that they fixed it. But then you look at that and going like, well, is that part of the kit that there's that level of suppression? I know that's the problem, isn't it? That rotation would look to you and me as being like, okay, well, that's part and parcel how it should be. With the level of suppression, with the power, with the route mechanic, you know, especially with the Kraven side of things. And of course, from a question point, you know, Daniel Math says, I didn't know that the champion couldn't throw SP3s when rooted on defense. Where does it say that in the abilities? And yeah, there are too many threads going on in this. It doesn't say anything about special looking while trapped route. In Kraven's kit, he does still special lock defenders at SP 1 and 2, but now the special lock comes off when they get to SP 3. None of it addressed in this kit, so changing it without warning from the way it worked for years seems wrong. Look, this is again, it's kind of like, where do you kind of, this is the information. It's a very bad week from Kabam. And I'll just get straight to the, we'll cut straight to the chase. And we'll kind of like, we'll read what Kabam have to say on this one. Because look, it's people like their champions. People like Kraven, as we've seen. We've just seen why and what the champion could do. That was just, again, maybe Kabam said it was OP. But look, from the length of time, it's going to be working as intended. Let's have a quick look. When is MCOC Kraven. How long has Kraven been in the game? December 2021. Yeah, I want to say that was December 2021 that he came into the game. So that's funny enough. That was when I went non-spending. That's going to come up to 2 years in December. I mean, it's like that Mole Man situation all over again, isn't it? So look, Kabam response. Yep, sorry. There we go. Right, let's read what Kabam have said about this and react to it. As many of you might know, there was recently a bug fix that went out without a level of communication necessary that affected how champions react when rooted. First, we want to apologize for the situation. It was not our intention to leave any of this information out of our release notes or make any changes silently. We do not purposely make silent changes to the game, but there are processes in place that in case didn't work, and this information was not disseminated the way that we should have been. Instead of asking the devs a bunch of questions and then translating from communications for you, I've asked the developers directly to write something and share it with you. This covers why we made these changes and where we messed up by the communications process. Damn. Back in January, as Zemo was heading out the door, someone made an offhand comment about how the defender's heavy bias while rooted seemed really reliable in keeping the opponents from throwing specials, to the point where they couldn't remember it ever not working. Remember it not working. No AI bias should ever be 100%, and that was not the intention which we had been building the characters. Our engineers informed us that root fully special locked the defender, preventing all three specials from specials, and always had. It's always a bit of a weird one when you kind of question AI AI in general with Kabam. It's like, it's kind of odd. It's like you've come into their house on Christmas Day and pissed on their presents. Like, they just don't like it. They don't like when, players notice anything or say anything when it comes to criticisms to the AI. But it's weird it's being mentioned in such a kind of offhand way with a developer. I would love to see a lot more work with the AI. Hitting to block counter by special is annoying. There's a lot of things you could mention with the AI, but it's kind of weird to see an omission like that. This was a problem because there's a big difference between designing a character that reduces specials and grants openings and designing a character that prevents them. Zemo in particular has the most aggressive use of this mechanic because we were evaluating in the former terms and not the latter. As a team, we knew change was necessary, but had to decide what change to pursue. There were some good arguments made in favor of removing the special lock entirely and leaning on the very high heavy bias already present. Since that there was the original intent behind the mechanic, we decided against it because we said earlier no AI bias is ever 100% reliable, and instead chose the middle ground of leaving the AI bias alone, preserving the inability for the defender to throw specials 1 or 2, and just unlocking their SP3. This account may cause some confusion because root didn't use to cause a defender power bar to grey out, a visual we normally associate with special locks and now does. This was an accidental knock-on from the prep we needed to do for the change, but the change below 3 bars is exclusively visual. Some of you may wonder why defenders could break out of Spider-Man Sorcerer Supreme's root before it root prevents all special. We're going into. I don't want to kind of keep reading on this stuff because it is just very kind of blah 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 blah. You can go read it for yourself. Obviously, they missed some stuff. Firstly, we announced that Zemo was bugged via the Trello board quickly as we could. This is why we have created that board so we can share identified bugs, which is good in some ways, but then it's bad in others because a lot of Battlegrounds-based bugs. One bug that's been around since Season 4 is still not on the Trello board, and if it wasn't a case they could replicate it, which is a problem because it's in the game mode, and it's been every season. So it has its benefits, but there's also some bad with it as well. But yeah, look, there's kind of there's more to this than meets the eye. I'm not going to do I can't read through all of this stuff. You can go and read for yourself because there's a lot of stuff. The problem is, we missed the change in the most recent patch notes. Writing patch notes is very collaborative. process that requires many different teams working together, and it's easy for something to slip through the cracks. We will be reevaluating the way in which we collect information for our patch notes in the future to help ensure that something like this doesn't slip through the cracks again. You know, this is a bit of a surprise. When I was doing some work for Final Strike Games, games developer, I worked for them for 1.5 years. One of the big things was what I would do is I would be literally speaking to every different type of department, environment, you know, character, abilities, art. I'd speak to all these different teams once every 2 months to kind of find out what they're making, what they're doing, and find out that what I'm doing, which not essentially was like this, like, you know, patch notes, but what I would be doing is I would be kind of like putting that within the work that I would do. So by doing that, I had that level of communication, and it just needs somebody to kind of go out there and kind of piece something together and be very kind of forceful with people going, look, I've got to do the patch notes. I've got to get this information from you. What are you doing? What are you up to? Is this feature going to be in? And if it is, what capacity? Are we announcing this? Are we not announcing that? And those are those things as well. I think, you know, communication is key. And what I learned from working for a games developer. Let's finish on what Kabam plan to do about this. First of all, they say, because this bug was publicly announced via the Trello board during the 3-month window where Zemo was subject to change, we do not plan to issue any rank down tickets for him, nor do we plan to offer any for Spider-Man, who is actually stronger after this change than before. I would say the problem we've got with the Trello board is not many people know about it. Kabam can talk about communication, but as well, it's how do you get people to go to the Trello board and know that it's there. Kabam Zibbit used to do the bugs and known issue section. I don't know where Kabam Zibbit is. I think they've left the company. They may have been cut. They may have been laid off. I don't know. But they would do that. Now they don't. They didn't do that for a long time because, again, Trello board. But it's knowing to go there. Unless you bookmark the Trello board, you don't know what's going on with it. The same way that a nice kind of in-game message may be helpful. Not everybody goes to the forums. Not everybody goes to the Trello board. Not everybody goes to YouTube to watch this video, which you're watching right now. And, you know, some people don't do that, which means they're not informed. And the problem is getting people informed about stuff that's changing with the game. How they do that is something Kabam needs to kind of like think about. But that's, again, it's going to be an ongoing problem. I might have to think about like doing a once a week Trello board update video, which I may put out on a Sunday. I don't know. I might have to run a poll in this section, just kind of asking out. Maybe I'll do a community tab post to going to say, is that worth doing? Just to kind of help out with people being informed. But again, it's like, there should be better ways to inform players. However, because Kraven is an older champion and was not mentioned as affected by this bug in the past, we do plan to offer rank down tickets to anyone who ranked 5 or 6 Kraven at the time of this post. Only those that have ranked up Kraven prior to this message going live, will receive those rank down tickets. So please do not rank up Kraven expecting rank down tickets in the future. We plan these to go out before the end of the month. Once again, we want to apologize for our misunderstanding around Kraven and for the failures in communication, and we'll make a process change to prevent repeats. Tough. I don't know if that communication will improve because we've had the same situation before. We always keep. I mean, this is a bad week. It gets worse for Kabam. You know, I'm struggling to keep up to date with all the stuff that I've got to keep up to date with. You know, arena issues, like that's hotfix, side quest. There's so many things going on at the moment. But I don't know. What's your thoughts on this particular Kraven issue? Communication at Kabam. Thoughts in the comment section down below. Check out some other content located on screen. I'll see you all soon. See you in the next video. Hopefully there's nothing broken. Bye-bye.